Master Tanuja.
Thank you, Nagamahesh and all the role takers for explaining your role. So moving on to the next segment of the meeting, that is this prepared speech. We have a first speaker, who is the accent, who is a voice, accent, and a communication skills trainer. She has been Toastmaster for almost 6 years, and she encourages and enables people in becoming a better communicator. The title of the speech is Art of Conversation. Let us put our hands together to welcome the Tanuja.
Standing here today, I'm reminded of my first day in the hostel. My parents dropped me in the hostel. I saw them off at the gate and I started moving towards my home. When I noticed around, new people, new place, new routine, everything was new. As I entered my room, I saw 2 more new faces, my roommates. 3 of us were from totally different cultural and geographical background. Suddenly, all my excitement to enjoy the hostel life vanished. And it was taken over by this unpleasant feeling, apprehensions. I have to live with these 2 girls for 1 full year. We could not change our room before that. Will I be able to adjust with them? Will they like me? If we don't, what will happen? How will I live for a year with them? These kind of thoughts really disturbed me, and a fear surfaced in my mind that said, was your decision to come to a hostel correct? Good morning, everyone. When we are in a new environment, new place, we have so many new faces. How do you feel? We are often overwhelmed, most of us feel overwhelmed by everything. What do we do then? All we need to do is start a conversation with the new person. But that very thought of initiating a conversation with someone new paralyzes most of us. Agree? However, conversations are an important part of our life. Talking to others stimulates us. It fulfills a basic need of every human being, that is human contact. When we talk to others, we open up a world of possibilities for everyone, for each other. Because we share information, we share ideas with each other that give us new opportunities to have collaborations. Some of them even turn out to be successful business partnerships. Then what is it that holds us back? What is it? Why do we hesitate to start a new conversation with anyone? How many of you remembered your first day in Toastmasters? All those who are Toastmasters. Today we have a person who's going to deliver her icebreaker speech. How are you feeling, Toastmaster Madhumita?
I'm a little nervous.
That's what you feel when you stand in front of an audience, a room full of strangers, to give your icebreaker speech. And all those who have given your icebreaker speech, kindly remember your feeling that time, nervousness. I too felt nervous. After all, you are taking a big risk in telling about yourself. What if you said or did something that others didn't like? What impression will they have about you? This is a very upsetting feeling for everyone. The impression that you want to form on others and what will they form about you by listening about yourself. Same feeling applies to when you have to talk to someone new. Now, we all want to form a very good impression on everyone. whom we talk to, especially new people. To do so, we have to make ourselves vulnerable, telling about ourselves. You cannot have a conversation without telling some of the other information about yourself. How you people wish that you would be prescient enough to know how would a conversation shape and the other person who likes you. Would you like to have that advantage to know how to initiate a conversation with anyone? Would you like to know? And that is art of conversation. And the art of conversation is nothing but art of making friends. If you can make friends, you will never ever feel that terrorizing feeling in which you almost hide yourself behind either a cell phone or you don't attend parties. So here comes the Amol advice on art of conversation. What is Amol? Amol is a acronym, AMOL. In my mother tongue, that is Hindi, it means invaluable. Something which doesn't have a value. You cannot fix a value. Amulya. Amol means something invaluable. So let's hear some invaluable things of how to make friends by having some great conversations. A stands for approach. Approach a person with a mindset that is engaging, that is positive. Now you remember when I said in the hostel, what did I think about my roommates when I first saw them? I was apprehensive. Will I be able to make friends with them? Will I be able to adjust with them? That is a negative mindset. Always approach people with a mindset that this person has something interesting to tell me. This person is going to give me some information or any such thing which I will add value to, which will add value to my existing knowledge. When you do so, half your work is done. Well begun is half done. Because the other person is also going to have the same vibes, and vibes speak louder than words. The second letter in Amol is M, which means you have to move on certain levels on which communication takes place. This is something to understand. This might be new for everyone. We have 4 levels on which communication happens, and you should follow those levels in the same sequence as they're told to you for good conversations and a friendly conversation, which is going to what I call as successful conversations. Number 1 is level 1, which is small talk. Every friendship that you cherish today, every business relationship that you value today started with level 1, small talk. You didn't have a good friend by birth. You made that friend as a good friend by starting from level 1. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. This is the first step. Small talk. What do you do in small talk? Unimportant, uncontroversial topics you speak on. And they could be the weather, the current event that you have met in. For example, if any of you, I'm meeting many of you for the first time, it's the event is the Toastmasters meeting of Hoodi Toastmasters Club. So you may meet in any event, any webinar, any seminar, talk about that, uncontroversial. Or you can talk of the current topics happening in the world or in the country that you are in, but avoid any controversial talk on that. You can also start your small talk with a compliment. Compliments are my favorite ways of starting a small talk. Mind you, be genuine in giving your compliments, or else they will backfire. And you lose a potential friend. It shows when you give a compliment just to start a small talk. Don't ever do that. This is an extremely important level. Never underestimate its importance because This gives you an idea if the other person is your types in layman's language. If you find the other person your types, you will want to continue the relationship of conversation further. One of my apartment residents approached me once and she said, Tanuja, I talk to many people. Hi, hello. But the next day or some other time when I meet them, they avoid my hi or hello greetings even. In fact, they change their routes. One or two such people she had met. She said, what's the reason? People here are not friendly. That's what she's told me. I said, no. She was at level 1. And this is what happens. See, she's saying hi, hello to someone. I say hi, hello to her, to him. He doesn't find me his types. He will not want to continue the conversation next time. That was what happening with her. And I told her, it's okay. You make other friends. That means you both are not finding each other compatible. So only when you find each other positive towards each other, then you can move up to the second level of conversation, that is level 2. Before that, please understand at level 1, never ever try to give an information or ask for information. You are not supposed to, you are not expected to share any personal information. Just talk on any uncontroversial topic. When you feel positive about each other, you can start to disclose some not so personal information, which is where do you work? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? You can share that information. Let's do so. You've come across that common ground on which you can take your friendship forward. For instance, in my hostel, I got acquainted with a girl. She was not my roommate. And I found that we both love books. We started sharing the authors that we have read or we would like to read. Till date, the author suggested by her and which I read afterwards remains the best author for me. Ayn Rand. And her book, Atlas Shrugged, remains the best book I've read so far. This is the value, this is the thing that happens when common ground is established. And she is a very good friend of mine till date, though it's been 30 plus years that I've left hostel. That is the relationship we still enjoy because we enjoy a common platform. When you still feel positive about each other at level 2, okay, you feel that, yeah, this person I can relate to and I can take this conversation or my friendship forward, you are ready to move to level 3. Level 3 is where you feel free to discuss the opinions and the viewpoints on any topic with that person. You feel it's safe to discuss. That person is not going to mind, or this person is going to accept my views, my opinions in a positive way. This level is still risky because you are exposing your mind bent. You are exposing your mindset. The other person may, at this point, take offense of any opinion, and your relationship can stop here. If you feel that, yes, this a difference of opinion, I'm compatible with it, I'm matured enough to handle difference of opinions, overall, I like this person, you are ready to move to level 4 in communication. Level 4 is the highest level, which means you have developed a trust with the other person. You are ready to take the other person as your confidant. And here you can share your personal information, whatever it is. It could be the crisis you're going through in your family life or in your professional life. You can talk all about it, or a financial crisis that you're facing, only at level 4. Now, what you have to take care is don't jump the levels. If you do so, you are going to put the other person off. Fortunately or unfortunately, Indian social fabric system is such that from level 1, they straight away jump to level 4. No sooner have you introduced yourself and then start sharing the personal problems. Once I was traveling back to my home from the hostel, I met a girl of my age. She was in the same compartment. After our initial hi, hello, she started talking about her engagement breakup. I didn't know how to react. I don't know. I'm meeting you for the first time. How can I react on this? I just kept mum. That's not something that you should do. Please avoid. And also, when you feel at level 1, this person is not of your kinds, you can stop the conversation there only. At any level you feel, stop your conversation there. It's okay. You should be satisfied. Only when you feel good about each other, spending time with each other, you can reach up to level 4. This may take years even. Reaching level 4 is not easy. Trusting someone is not easy. Trusting someone with your personal information is not easy. So it may take years. Don't rush. Wishing to be friends is quick, but it is a slow ripening fruit. Don't forget. So we have covered A part, M part, move through the levels, not jump the levels. After that comes O. O means open-ended questions. Now, how many of you have felt that when you start talking to someone new, after 1 or 2 questions or after a few times, you feel stuck. You don't know what to talk to. Have you ever felt so? Priyanka shares this. This is step O, and the last step L hits this challenge. How do you take the conversation forward, not getting stuck? O stands for open-ended questions. L stands for listening carefully. All these steps, A, M, O, L, have to be not done in a sequence as I've told, but in combination with each other. All of them, all 4 steps have to be combined. Now, when you feel that you are not finding any topic to talk on, from the start only, ask a mix of open and closed-ended questions. What are open-ended questions? The questions that start with why, what, when, where, how. In contrast, the closed-ended questions are the ones that will have an answer in yes or no. Are you a vegetarian? Yes. Finish. You'll have to ask another question to elicit an answer from that person. Do you live in Bangalore? No. Where are you from? Now the person is going to tell. Listening at the same time to the answers that you get will help you to build up your conversation further. All those who were here by 10 o'clock and Arijit was talking, did you see how our conversation branched off into various directions? That is listening. I'll give you an example, live example here, what we experienced, all of us experienced. Art of listening is actually the art of conversation. Listening is very important in communication, any kind of communication. Arijit asked me, how was your week, ma'am? Before I could answer, I was a little hesitant, thinking about what to say. He said, okay, what did you prepare good? What food did you prepare and what did you eat well? I said, dosa. Now from here, the conversation was going on how was your week? And it shifted to food. Now, how did it shift? See, when I said dosa, he gave an example of his uncle and his aunt, who prepared some promotion dosas. Then it shifted to sambar. See how from dosa to sambar, and then it shifted to Kerala food. Then you mentioned about staying in Sri Lanka. So we started talking on seafood. How did it branch off? This is the art of listening. whatever, if we're talking, if you're given an answer, in that answer, you will find some or the other word, some clue on which you can build up your conversation further. You'll never run out of topics to speak on. You may run out of time to have a conversation. So please combine open-ended questions with listening carefully, and you can pick up any clue and start your conversation. Start your conversation in that direction. Excuse me. Conversation is so important in life that it is going to give you success. Every successful person is a successful conversationalist. They can put you at ease in a moment, and they can create a positive first impression for you. This enhances their own personal and professional image. So why not learn Amol? This is an Amol advice, and build up your conversational skills. Many people are just born with these skills. You will understand. They can talk to anyone, anywhere, even on a wrong number. However, for people like us, luckily, this art is there. Learn this art, practice it, master it, and become a conversationalist, a good conversationalist. Coming back to that question that Fear asked me, was my decision to come to a hostel correct? Yes, I can proudly say it was the best decision of my life, because I made some invaluable friends. We are friends even after 30 plus years. We are connected and happy in each other's company. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, ma'am. I think when ma'am yesterday sent this title of the speech, I was very keen to listen, because I'm working on some interpersonal skills, right? When your interpersonal skills is good, then only your conversation or the friendship builds. So thank you, ma'am. And we are moving to the second speaker of the day. She's working at a startup as a mobile app developer. She loved to ponder on storylines and characters of books and movies she reads or watches. She also enjoys outdoor activities, and she likes to spend time with quality time with friends. So the title of the speech is "What I Truly Want." I'll put our hands together to welcome TMOD to the stage.
Good morning, sir Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our dear guests. My name is Madhumita. So, when I first committed to giving my icebreaker speech, this is actually the second time I'm committing to it. So there's no way I could get out of it. I procrastinated some more until last night. I started praying for some kind of earthquake to happen. So when this meeting does not happen, I don't have to give my icebreaker. So to give you a little background about myself, I'm a Tamil Chettiar. I come from this place, a very territorial place in Tamil Nadu called Chettiar. And we are very famous for our cuisine. You will see some of the most grandest architectures in our place. We were also, our ancestors were actually one of the first entrepreneurs in India. And we also have very beautiful traditions in our culture. So growing up, I could not fast for a happier childhood. I had the joy of growing up in my grandparents' house. My parents used to work in Chennai. And also at the time, my aunt was still unmarried. So my grandparents, along with my aunt, they have loved and pampered me to literal death. I do not remember a day in my childhood where I was scolded or I cried. Those some of the most happiest days of my life. I think around the age of 10, my grandparents moved back to my hometown. And, they are close with the rest of my cousins and my brother. But I still have this feeling that, I feel a little more closer to them than the rest of my siblings. So which is very funny now because I have a niece. She's very cute. I like it. I enjoyed when, my aunts and uncles talk about how cute she is. I did not even mind when my mom and dad were also going on and on about how cute she is, how adorable she is. But then when my grandparents started talking about her, I felt like she was just crossing a line. I mean, that should be that. I think that's like the rule. You should not cross over. She has her own grandparents. So I've coming to school. I've never been such a big fan of school. I was a very shy kid. So at home, I used to be very talkative. But the moment I stepped out of my house, even if someone asked me for my name, they would have to lip read it off of my mouth because I would only whisper air. I would whisper it to them. And there was a period between 7th and 10th standard when I felt like I was finally coming out of my shell and I was starting to enjoy school, but that didn't last long. The 10th, I shifted schools and I chose to go to an IIT coaching class, which was probably the worst decision I have made till now. It was so stressful. I had a very bad set of friends. The teachers there were very rude, and I don't even keep in touch with anybody. And so coming to college life was a breeze. I had a little bit of romance, a lot of the usual college drama. I do remember studying a little bit, and I had a lot of fun with my friends. But I did not realize how fast the 4 years went by. Cut to now, where I'm finally working as a mobile app developer at a bustling startup. I'm getting to work on new technology, which from the outside, before I joined the startup, was very appealing to me. I thought it was a cool thing to do when I was in engineering, but I did not realize how stressful and how much of a time commitment it is to work at a startup. Like right now, my days, my nights, and my weekends, all of them go in working. And so also my work is very far from here. Most of my work days start with me traveling to work, and the rest of the day is me traveling back from work. If I get some time in the middle, I work there a little. So everything was fun and games. I did not realize how I'm going to start having to make serious decisions now that I'm out of college and I have more responsibilities. Until one day my parents walked up to me and they, with a guy's picture in their hands, and they said, "Now the next right decision for you is to get married." Um, so far, I've in life I've always felt like one day I would wake up and I would have a purpose that's bigger than my life, and every setback or challenge that I've experienced till now is probably preparing me to it. Kind of like what happens in the movie. But I do not have the prescience to know what it is. But that after a lot of drama and a lot of rebellion at home, I finally said no to my parents. But it led me to a very important question that I asked myself: what is it that I truly want in life? So moving forward, the steps are very unclear. I don't know where I'm going, but taking the first step to asking myself what I truly like and what I don't like will probably lead me to one day finally finding out the purpose of my life. Thank you.
That's outstanding.
Thank you, Toastmaster Madhumita. I think it takes courage to share the personal, information in this kind of forum. So we are moving on to the next segment of the meeting, that is table topics. To handle this session, we have Ankur Harora, who is an architectural designer. He loves to ponder. He loves to read and ponder deeply upon the same thing. I will hand over the stage to Ankur Harora. Over to you.
Thank you, Kiran. Well, so when I was thinking about today's table topics, I thought rather than picking something from the internet and some deeper thoughts, I have been noting down a lot of weird things which I observe around the world. And I've noted down a lot of points in that. So I thought, why not make these as table topics? Some of them are a little sensitive topics. Some of them are very cool, but I would love to hear about these topics from you guys. So who would want to go first? I would So who would want to go first?
Someone from Arun, would you like to?
Great. Arun, so your topic is, are we all born actors?
Are we all born actors? Is that the title?
Yes.
Yeah.
They say dancing comes naturally to every one of us. I will add to it. So does drama. Every little child, whenever it wants to get something out of the parent that was not in their plan, what do? They cry. Do they really cry or just cry? Most likely just cry. If this didn't work, what else would work? There's always a path B, a plan C, a fourth way to attract and do something else. That does not come without a bit of acting. We can always debate if leaders are born, leaders are made. There's no such debate when it comes to acting. We all are born actors. If we want to complain to our parents that the sibling hasn't given or shared their idli or dosa with us, it's an acting scene right there. We are such born actors that we need to be told, Arun, it is green card already, stop acting. But I can wait for the yellow and red. So we continue to pursue our case till the time the person is convinced that, okay, you can have it. What do we do in our appraisals? We are grown-up kids. We act as though we have saved the company from disaster. If we are getting appraised, if we are the managers, we act as though everything in the company happened because of that person's effort. Every conversation is some form of acting. Every expression is a form of acting. Some of them are so natural, some of them evolve over a period of time, but for sure, we are born actors. Back to you, Vishwas.
That was great, Arun. Well, the next topic actually is, I will give a little context on this. So in like in India especially, there is a thing that every in our families, our elders always say that respect your elders. Respect your elders, whoever it is, even if it's your elder sibling, just respect that person. An elder sibling is always in like, okay, I want you to respect me, okay? So that's how it is. So the question is, do all elders deserve respect by default, or should it be earned? It's a little sensitive topic. Who wants to actually join this topic?
I'll take that up.
Okay.
Hello?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me just see if my camera is working. There was a slight issue with the network just now. Yes, there I am. So, in India, by default, we do have a culture where the elders are given respect. And that is on the simple aspect that they are considered to be wiser or someone who can actually guide us through certain paths where we might actually stumble. But the reality is, not all elders deserve respect. Respect is something that you receive and you give. It is not a one-way street where you just respect the elder, because even as a child, even as someone younger to you, they have a certain amount of respect that they need to be given as well. If I walk up to a stranger, he might be someone elder to me. If I go up to him and he talks to me in a very rude manner, why would I listen to that? In that aspect, why would I listen to anyone, irrespective of if it is a relative, if they are going to be rude to me and if they are not going to be showing me a certain amount of respect which I deserve? Because respect starts from yourself, and if you don't allow yourself to be respected, no one else is going to do that to you. So if you need to give respect to your elders, they need to show a certain amount of respect to you as well. If an elder comes to you and says, you're useless, your simplest reply to that is, that advice was useless yourself. So if there are people in your family or anyone for that matter who think they deserve respect, just see for two things. One, do you love them? Then everything that I just said is a moot point. But if you don't, whatever they say is a moot point itself. Over to you.
You did a great job, Satya. Okay, so next, who's gonna go next first? Let's pick up the person, then I'll share the topic.
Yes.
Yes.
Any guess? Yeah.
Yeah, I can try. Yeah.
Sorry. So sorry, your name, sir?
I'm Rishi. Yeah.
All right, great, Rishi. So Rishi, your topic is, does external validation make us weak or make us strong?
All right. I think there are two sides of it. I mean, sometimes you need the external validation to validate your, probably your progress or whatever you're doing. But sometimes it can be a hindrance as well. So I will say we have to balance the both, and think that So as I said, I mean, sometimes you really need a feedback to improve yourself. But sometimes, I mean, it can be I'll say, it can be difficult to manage the situation as well. So I will say we have to balance. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. Ranat, there's a little sensitive topic. If the senior members allow this thing, then we can have this topic, or we can have some other topic. So actually, and I would prefer some senior member to come and talk on this topic if we are allowing this topic. So the topic is, sorry?
Manoj is the senior most.
Okay, Manoj. All right. So if you guys all allow, it's a little taboo kind of a topic. So if you guys allow, then only we'll talk about it. So it's would this world be a better place with no religion at all?
Manoj is there.
Raring to go. Manoj, are you there?
He's become God now.
Manoj, sir, are you there?
Why do I get the feeling that it's like a mild target practice?
No. Okay, we can switch it if Manoj is not comfortable.
No.
Whoever is comfortable
It's not
in
a
actually
comfortable
answering this
thing. I
question.
was just pulling legs. I don't mind doing the topic about it. So let me just come on to the video part first.
Yeah.
Right. So now the topic is, would the world be a better place without religion? It's a very hard thing to say that, because religion evolved from man's fear of the elements, is what my understanding is. We gave it various thoughts and principles, and those kind of evolved into maybe deities and ritual practices and belief systems, is how I will put it. So depending on from whichever world, for example, if lightning was striking in Peru, the Incas had one thought, lightning was striking in India, the Indians had one thought. If it happened in China, there was a different thought. In Egypt, it was a different thought. They all assigned this to all, superhuman elements and individuals and entities who were gifted with vast powers. So the question came up, who created all of us? There must have been one supreme being and all the stuff. Now that supreme being concept also, if you look at it very carefully, it sounds like a bit of a male oriented supreme being and not a female oriented supreme being, right? Again, conceptual thoughts, that's it. So the whole stuff is basically a concept. Unfortunately, the concept is so addictive, we cannot do without it in our present day world. Not just our world of our forefathers also, if I will say. So if somebody says I'm an atheist, which means he doesn't believe in God, fine, jolly well good. That's how his concept of belief of religion has come in, is how I will put it. So overall, it is, in simple terms, a belief system. How you look at it varies on your individual personal perspective, is how I'd like to end that thought. Thank you.
Great, Manoj. Thank you for deep insights on that topic. Well, if we are okay, we can go for one more topic. if we have enough time.
Yes,
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 yes.
yes, uncle.
Okay. All right. So the next is, it's again a little deeper topic. So if a senior member can come, then that will be great.
Management, no one is management.
But it's not a taboo topic. It's a very regular topic.
Good. Kiran?
So, okay, whoever wants to come, they can please.
Best.
No, no, guess. Deeper topic.
Okay.
You are the best person.
All right, Naga Mahesh. So the topic is, are there any truly honest leaders or just good hypocrites? It's did you get the topic? Did you get the gist of it?
Yeah, but I'm thinking in terms of India, or in terms of the world.
Yeah, and he not be political leader.
See, first of all, when we say the word leaders, obviously we visualize all the politicians. Yes, there are honest leaders. If we see Abraham Lincoln or Vajpayee, I feel them as a genuine leaders. Like what I mean was, they don't have enemies. If you see, even Rahul Gandhi respect Vajpayee. So that's the true leader. They pull all them, even though they take up all kinds of people with all ideologies along with them. So there is the good quality of a true honest leader. And coming to hypocrites, yes, we have many. I don't want to name them. If you take Hitler or many other people in the world, even today, somebody likes Modi, somebody don't like Modi. So it depends on the individuality. But yes, there are honest leaders. There are also hypocrites. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Naga Mahesh. All right. So should we move on to the next section, or do we? I do have another some more topics. Whatever you guys say, we'll do that.
Next section, please.
Sure.
Thank you, Ankur, for your thoughtful.
Over to you, Kiran.
Thank you, Ankur. This is a session where we put ourselves on the spot to think and do spontaneously. So if you want to improve upon spontaneous thinking and spontaneous speaking, we have to work on this. So with this, I think due to short of time, I think we are moving to the next segment, that is evaluation. Now I would like to call General Director to evaluate the meeting.
Thank you, Kiran. So I would like to call upon distinguished Toastmaster Manoj, first evaluator of the day, to evaluate Tanuja ma'am's speech. Manoj, you are on mute.
Oh.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Am I audible now? Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
So, Toastmaster Tanuja, let me come straight away to the speech evaluation. Now, from what I understand, we have a keynote session today, and a lot of effort has gone into establishing this, into giving your speech, right? So I have just put it in a bunch of points over here and tried to do justice to being a strict evaluator, right? So first off, I will say the start was a little too soft on two aspects. One is on the tone of the voice, and the second was on the way you brought it on, is how I'll say. Two things which kind of very gently brought on, is how I'll say, which I felt was not necessary. That is what I will ask you to look at it, right? There was this display of self-doubt, which was actually pretty well done over there. And in terms of the pace also, is what I'll say, is you need to let go of, it felt like it was a very controlled delivery over there in terms of the speed. Maybe like, for a split, maybe at that initial point, your thought was going on to like maybe one of your regular training sessions when you're explaining something. I will ask you to let go over there. And that let go actually happened when the next para, when you stepped into the body, the let go actually happened. You stepped into your natural pace with which you go about. So that was one critical difference which I noted over there. I will ask you to bring in your natural pace from the beginning itself to keep the tempo going, right? A little more physical movement is required because you are very locked down to that space that you are using. You do very little physical movement laterally. but the hands, facial expression, the eye contact, all was very engaging. Especially the visual contact is what I want to highlight over here. You made it a point to uh, unconsciously look at all your audiences. This is something which comes out of a long amounts of practice as a trainer, wherein you have to engage visual contact with your audience. So that part was very well executed, is how I'll say. Now, in terms of the voice mod, you have the capacity, is how I'll put it. Though it's a keynote kind of a speech, you should use that right. You should exercise that right and bring in some amount of voice modulation. For example, that sentence, a room full of strangers. It was said as a room full of strangers, which is a very ordinary daily, wherein you had an option of saying a room full of strangers. You could stress on the word room, and that was all that I was expecting for. But unfortunately, you chose to not consider that possibility over. That's how I'll put it. Right. The concept of that Amol, which you explained, was very useful, is something which uh, maybe we all adopt it and adapt it in our own ways, unconsciously, not in knowing about it. But today, I'll say thank you for actually illustrating this in a far more detail and depth. Especially because when you have to establish a conversation with somebody who you don't know, you're meeting for the first time, those kind of right? Then you mentioned about the memory of a friend who introduced you to Ayn Rand and Atlas Shrugged. Now that's a big fat book which I remember having read roughly about halfway. Then I said this is too much to read, but that was almost 30 plus years back. But yes, that is a landmark book for anybody who wants to read about certain principles, is how I will put it. It's not about a story over, it's about principles. You should seriously read that book, is what I will recommend you to do it. Right. And there is a section for the conversion section where you're talking about, right? The pause was a little too long towards the end. I'm talking the section towards the end in the speech. The pause was a little too long. And the finish also is something which I would ask you to actively look at, so that the your introduction and the objective of your speech comes back, so you can nail it back to your audience towards the end. The reason is this: if you look at the speech time, 18 to 22 minutes, right? It had a point wherein somewhere in the middle there's a bit of meandering of the thought process. It was crisp, then somewhere in between, kind of, for about a minute or two, it kind of meandered inward, like, where to go, where to go, probably in the content which you wrote. And then somehow it again came back on track in terms of the pace. So the pace was kind of constant over there, except for those one or two places where it kind of dropped over there. But on the same concept of the pace is where the finish also. You started off with an idea over there, but then I didn't feel that strong close which I was expecting. And you gave me a solid start statement over there. Forget about all else. You gave me a start statement over there. I was expecting a very close connect to that statement, but unfortunately, maybe that also kind of went on off tangent, is how I will say. Or maybe you changed it something as an afterthought when you wrote the speech. But I would ask you to really look at that point and see if you could tighten it up. The speech is good. It is not about disqualification. I would ask you to consider giving us the speech once again, or any place where you feel like it, just for self-satisfaction. So that your objective of becoming a keynote, how exactly to polish your keynote is your objective, right? So I will say from that perspective, I will ask you to push that thought process first and use the same speech. Just for the heck of the practice session, nothing else. Don't change the content. The delivery also, maybe you could fine tune it here and there depending on how you feel it should be done. But overall, I will say give it another shot, or two shots if you want, 2 rounds of it, just for the personal satisfaction. Okay, I have done this to the way I expected it to go. Otherwise, I could not find fault to say, no, it was not below expectations or below par and stuff like that, is how I will say it. So overall, it's a good delivery. Good speech. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Manoj. It was very long evaluation actually. Thank you so much.
You can't do justice to a 20-minute speech in 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. I would like to call the second evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Arjit, and our past president, Arjit. Let us think of more than much.
But before I evaluate Madhumita's speech, uh, even Manoj made a point, and even in Madam's speech, like she mentioned, avoid controversial topics. And then she mentioned Ayn Rand. I will tell you one thing, never discuss Ayn Rand on dating apps with liberals. It's a tip. You will run one day. Okay, now I will go to the reason I've been asked to come on stage, and that is, okay, you have to time me now. Sorry about that. Okay, now, so thank you, Toastmaster Madhu, for such a beautiful speech. The things I liked about your speech is that I personally appreciate speakers when they come on the stage and they smile. That sets the mood light and right for people to listen to you. And what you follow up with is a very chirpy way of conversation. You have a good humor, and it just went like a waterfall. Like uh, everything good is happening. And we like to watch waterfall because it shows when water is falling, we are all delighted. We only water will be falling, but we are delighted. And all the thoughts and ideas came in that fashion. So it was a very nice way to start with your speech. What I particularly liked in the way that you are proud of your ancestry and you said about your region. A lot of people avoid that, but then it also gives an idea of people about when you claim something like people from Chettinad were the first trading community and all that. So there's a sense of pride in it, and people also appreciate that or get to know about it. So that was very well brought. And another aspect I particularly enjoyed was how you described the various stages of life, like as a child, then going to school, your time with your uncle, aunt, and grandparents, then your school, and you had a good sense of humor all around, keep your audience engaged. Then you spoke about college, uh, and whenever you were describing something serious, you always had a witty comeback. Like there was a shell of life when I was actually coming to terms with it, my school got changed, and the voice modulation was also done very nicely. What I particularly like about speakers is when they speak in an uninhibited style. When you spoke about the challenges, means not challenges like a very normal Indian thing, a parent getting a photograph of someone to get married and all that. So that's even for a 20-year-old or 30-year-old, that's kind of sets you aback. But the way you put down those thoughts, like the setbacks, it was done in a very nice, brave manner. But again, you had a witty comeback. But when you have a brave comment, let people analyze it. Take a pause. You have to work a little bit on pause. And the other aspect you can work on is have adjectives. Sweet and short adjectives, they work really well. They're effective. So to summarize, have good adjectives in your speech. I loved your uninhibited style of telling about your life, and that was a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arjit, for evaluating a speaker speech of Madhumita. Now, I would like to call upon my tag team, timer Toastmaster Dhruv.
Thank you, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Nag Mahesh. I'll begin with my timer report. Toastmaster Tanuja took 21 minutes 17 seconds. Toastmaster Madhumita took 5 minutes 18. Moving on to the table topic speakers, Toastmaster Arun took 1 minute 47. Our guest Satyanarayan took 2 minutes 4. Rishi took 44 seconds. Our distinguished Toastmaster Manoj took 1 minute 46.
Toastmaster Nagmahesh took 1 minute 6 seconds, and finally the evaluators, DTM Manoj took 6 minutes 20, and Toastmaster Arijit took 3 minutes 29. So that's my report. Back to you, Dhanuja.
I'd like to call upon the accountant who took the role at the last moment, first president.
I like the way you stood up the soil. Yeah. So since it was taken in last moment, it was also done in a very shoddy fashion also. Because for the first set of speakers, I forgot to count the ers and ums, because by that time the role was not assigned to me also, to speak in my favor. And I also use the maximum ers and ums, so I discount myself from counting myself. We had Tanuja madam. The speech was so enthralling and gripping that I failed to actually focus on the ers and ums. There were a few thus which were slightly misplaced, but then we had Madhu, who also used so and also a little bit. So's and ums were used by certain guests, but since it is their first time, so I would avoid naming them, but be mindful of using so's and ums because it kind of works as an impediment in effective communication. Then Manoj had a few pauses and a lot of pauses. So he already took 6 minutes of evaluation. But pauses is something Manoj was repeating quite frequently. And Nagamahesh also has a few pauses, but he was given a difficult topic, but he also knows how to counter it with good humor.
Thank you so much. I would like to call upon the Reverend of the Day, Toastmaster Akanksha.
Yeah, I'll begin with DTM Tanuja. You introduced a very, a very invaluable word, Amol, into our dictionary. The phrase that wives speak louder than the words was a really good one, and we all got like enthralled by that phrase. Like you used, there was a bit of bad usage of, not bad, like you used the line that every conversation you started with, it should have been every conversation you start with, and like at one place or the other, like your apartment's residence, it should have been apartment residence. And yeah, that's the correction, that's the minor corrections I had. Moving on to the TMOD, you once used moving to the next speaker, it should have been moving on to the next speaker. Toastmaster Madhu, your speech was very fluent. This is just an advice, like as Arijit has already pointed this out, you could have used some more phrases or adjectives in the speech. Would have been helpful for me to point the good usages while presenting my report. Yeah. Now coming on to Toastmaster Nagmahesh, your voice was not very clear for online audience, so maybe that could be a thing you can look at. Also, like very good usages of the word of the day by our speakers. I expected the role takers to use the word of the day more than the speakers did, but like here speakers use the word of the day more than the role takers did. So yeah, that's my report. Handing over to General Evaluator Nagmesh.
Is my voice clear to the?
Yeah, it's clear now.
Thank you. So let me quickly jump onto the evaluation part. We are in 160th meeting today, and today is February 12 Sunday, because just 2 days, we have just 2 days of Valentine's Day. People like me, you may have to go for Valentine's Day shopping, but still, let me quickly jump onto my evaluation. I was flabbergasted to take up the general evaluator role today. My presence was correct. I came late today as usual. Meeting has started late, 10:18 p.m. today. So starting with Sergeant at Arms, Sandeep, you did a good job. Could have prepared a little in advance. And presiding officer Arun, with a lot of humor. Thank you so much. You did a great job. Great, like introducing the guests or telling about the history of Toastmasters Club, etc. And once again, we welcome all of the guests. Dhruv, who is from Intel, Rishi Singh, who worked in Sri Lanka for 8 years, Veena from Morphologic, Priyanka. I missed the company, but yeah, we have global launch. Sorry, you are global launch. You are from bank.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, sorry, I mixed it. Yeah. Muthu. So once again, we all welcome you and please keep on participating in this club. And jumping on to the Toastmaster of the day, Kiran, who did a great job and a great thing sharing the vision, but could have made the environment of this room with the theme of the day. That was, I felt it was missing. I would like to add a few words of our theme. Everybody, we are not a visionary like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, but my suggestion to everybody is at least we should have 4-year vision. What I'm trying to say, I literally had this idea from one of my friends. He's my colleague who worked with me in past. He had a 4-year vision. He keep on practicing GRE, and his goal was to get to do MBA in Canada, in one of the best universities. And after 4 years, he really achieved it. He got seat in University of Waterloo in Canada, and then recently he completed MBA. So he kept 4-year vision, like attempt, fail, learn. Attempt, fail, learn. Even a BTech student, when he joined in the first year, he have 4-year vision. What he want to do after coming out of this college, or IAS, IPS officers, we can see in Lakshmanagar in Delhi. They have 4-5-year vision, fail attempt. So that's the end. I just want to share my suggestion. And the way, Kiran, you asked the vision, was fantastic. Coming to tag team, thanks to Arun for reminding me to introduce the tag team. And Dhruv, you did a good job, really. Even though you came after a long time for Toastmasters, yeah, you really fulfilled your job. And our counter, Arjit, I have no comments. And the grammarian Akansha did a good job. She introduced the word of the day in the meeting. And coming to speakers of the day, Tanuja ma'am and Madhumita. So Tanuja, they told it, as I told, it was a great learning lesson. Amol, we will remind the word Amol and we implement in our daily day. Actually, I felt your speech was 7 minutes, even though I got it in between. After when Dhruv told, I got to know it's 21 minutes. Normally the speech is prepared with 7 minutes, but it's a very great thing. I didn't realize it's 21 minutes. I really like the introduction part, like asking questions and making eye contact, especially voice modulations. We really learned a lot from you and more advice. And Speaker Madhumita, really your speech was so sweet. It was crystal clear, crisp and clear. And you may lack an eye contact, but you had a great humor. Could have used the stage, but you really connected with your icebreaker with all the people. Coming to Toastmaster, table topic master Abhishek. Sorry.
Well,
So the table topics doesn't fit to the theme of the day. That was one of the suggestions. Even you have to invite the guests maybe rather than the role takers. That was missing. And yeah, there were a couple of suggestions. And coming to the evaluators, yes, I don't have any comments. As we know, distinguished Toastmaster Manoj and Arjit, you have very long journey in Toastmaster Club of Hoodi, and I don't have any comments. But still, the communication between the sessions to evaluators is like the communication should be like between the ATC and the pilot. Like even a pilot when he's going in a wrong way, the ATC says, it seems you are going in a wrong way, rather than pinpointing or something like that. And also one more suggestion is you can share the feedback in a writing format to the speaker, so that whenever they feel free, they have time, they can really look into and they can evaluate or they can improve on the part. And I would like to end my general evaluation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, G. I think the detailed, humorous evaluation. Thank you for your constructive feedback. Due to time constraint, I would like to call upon the presiding officer to bring over. Thank you.
Big round of applause for all the rule takers. Many of you have done your roles at the first time now. You guys pick it up in the last minute, and that's what keeps this meeting alive. There's a lot of things happening backstage, but at the end of it, when the lights are on, you realize there are still a few players out there, and everybody did a fantastic job. Welcome again, all the guests, and hope you continue to come for our meetings. And whenever you think it's the right time for you to become members of this club, please reach out to us. We will give you the numbers for that. Speeches. At the heart of every conversation is an art of conversation. Thank you for that, Saruja ma'am. Now I also call you ma'am. Madhumita, phenomenal. The best thing that Madhumita did was she turned down my offer of wanting to help her to prepare for the speech. She said, Arun, I will take care. I'm sure that was the best decision. And can I just take Maurya's feedback? It's been a while since I spoke to her also. And Maurya, how was the meeting?
Like it was really great. Like I really loved the table topics. Like that was my best part. Like they are like very relatable and thing. And yeah, it was really great.
Thank you. Abhishek, I think you joined late, so hope you join next time as well, so we get to talk a little more. Because there, no, he joined a little late. Abhishek, were you joined there from the beginning of the meeting?
Abhishek.
He's not there now. Okay, that's fine. Just a couple of important announcements. Next week, we are going to have an education session on evaluation by a Toastmaster by name Matthew Bobby Verghese. It's going to be an exciting one. Please be there and please share with your other members of the club. Let it be a full house. That is what will give great value for all of us together. And the second one is the contest is happening at the club level on the 12th of March. If anybody is wanting to complete your level 2, please go for it. I will make arrangements, even if it's not in this club, but at some other club, for you to deliver those speeches, table topics and evaluation. You don't need to crack any level. A good standing Toastmaster is good enough to participate. If you want to participate in the international speech contest, you need to crack level 2 of any path. Okay, it's honestly easier done than said. Okay, so you could do that. Wish you all the very best for an amazing week ahead. Thank you so much. With this, I got to close.